Hi, this is Stacey Hyde, and I'm back with another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less. And today I'd like to revisit the topic of predictions, recession, no recession, what are markets going to do, and offer up sort of our advice and our views on what we see going forward. I will say that as a firm, we remain cautiously optimistic about what's in store for markets this year. We believe that the markets have reacted pretty logically to some of the news hitting the airwaves. The worst fears about what winter would be like overseas, particularly in Europe. It was a milder winter, it's projected to continue that way. That's reduced the demand on natural gas and oil over there, which has helped keep oil prices fairly stable. With China reopening, they're going to demand more, but quite frankly, they don't necessarily get them from the same places that Europe had been getting them. So while prices should go up, we're already starting to see more exploration and pumping happening in the US. They've recommissioned some offshore oil rigs, and so we're starting to see more supply being provided in the US. And markets as a whole, you've certainly seen the headlines about layoffs in the tech industry. And going back to, while yes, there have been some layoffs and they've had some big numbers, technology employees are still by and large able to quickly get re-employed. So as those happen, it's actually working to fulfill what the Federal Reserve has been hoping to do with the increase in interest rates. So the interest rates were being pushed up to sort of try to cool off the economy, and we're seeing that that is happening. And so yes, those people can certainly likely find new jobs, but they won't find new jobs making 50% more than what they were making previously on average. And that sort of wage price inflation is really what makes inflation sticky and higher for longer. And that is what the Fed has been very afraid of. So while layoffs are certainly never good news, particularly if you're affected by them, but on the whole, it's taking, just like the interest rates first knocked down the housing market and made it more expensive to borrow money, but it also took out some of the, people paying $100,000 over asking price for a home. You're not really seeing that anymore. And so that's taken some of the froth out of there. And we just had lower home price sales announced again. And so that market is cooling. And so now with these layoffs, we're starting to see the hiring market cool a bit too. Longer term, we certainly need more participants in our labor force. And I think that if cooler heads prevail in Congress, seems to be a big if these days, we could come somewhere with immigration policy to fill some of those roles that are not being filled here in the States, particularly in logistics, transportation, farming, agriculture. Those types of things could be filled with these people that desperately want to be here. And so hopefully we'll start to see some easing there, and that would also help lower some of the wage price pressures. So all in all, we are cautiously optimistic about markets. We think that interest rates, the Fed is going to keep pushing a bit higher. They've already announced kind of a slowdown in the rate of increases. But I think if we look back a year from now or 18 months from now, I don't think interest rates will be higher than where they are now. They may be slightly lower. And it does appear that we are going to get the proverbial soft landing. Mild recession possibly, maybe even technically not a recession, but it certainly slowing down and allowing the supply chains to unclog and getting our economy moving back the way it's supposed to be. There's still a lot of pent-up projects that were ready to get started before the pandemic that are just now moving forward, as those continue to do, I think they will have a beneficial impact on the economy as a whole. So that's your bright spot on what may be a cloudy winter day wherever you are. But I hope that you will take it and realize that markets are volatile, they move around, but for the most part, the good news is baked in and so is the bad. So trying to guess what the market's going to do in the future based on what you see happening in the near term, it's actually likely all already priced in. So your best bet is to stay diversified, stay in the market, and make sure that you have a sufficient emergency fund. This has been another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less. I'm Stacey Hyde with Envision Financial Planning.